Hi everyone, welcome back to the Hollywood Actor's Guide to Surviving the Film Industry. Today we're going to talk about positivity, maybe a little best friend speak, and talking about expectations. Michael Shurtleff said, "Humor in a scene is not jokes. It is that attitude toward being alive without which you would long ago have jumped off the 59th Street Bridge." You can still be a great actor if you train yourself to think positively. Some of us are paralyzed by the thought that if you become a positive person, your work will suffer if you need to cry on cue. This podcast is a reaction to some of the emails I got from my last podcast talking about, I think even going back from like the gratitude podcast or like dealing with your emotions podcast. I think some actors were struggling with like, well, how can I, try to be positive all the time, but still be able to cry on cue? Well, this is where your training as an actor comes in. So even though I just went over on how the emotional life of an actor can be negatively having an effect on your personal life of a scene even, I also believe that experience and training will teach you that you don't have to go there. There is this thing called acting after all. It was only when I began to study different styles of acting and different methods that I realized that there are healthier or more powerful ways of approaching material when you are armed with multiple ways of making that approach. I'm not going to go deep into acting styles for this here right now. We'll see if you want it. But it's more for you because it's such an exploration thing. I feel like I can't just talk to you about it. It's something for you to explore in class. And by reading as many books on the theory of acting from as many different sources as possible. Because I believe when you approach life with a positive mindset, your charisma increases. And you'll find that you'll go into an audition room with more calm and grace than you had before. The irony that happened for me is that when my authentic access to emotions that served the character versus whatever negative thing I was going through in my life was more readily available. Be kind to yourself. Know that you are enough. But let me backtrack. Let me make sure I really hit that. Because there are times in your life where something can really not be going well. And you're like, oh man, I'm going to use this in the audition. And so you're going to go in there and you're like, my car was just stolen yesterday and this person just lost something great to them. And I'm going to use it in the audition. And you feel nothing. You know why? Because your brain, super smart. Your brain's like, no. We're in a really, auditions are important. You've taught me auditions are important. So I'm going to protect you from all of those raw emotions from yesterday of your car getting stolen. And I'm going to block those emotions. Now what are you going to do? You feel nothing. What are you going to do in that audition room when that doesn't work? That's when your whole toolkit just kind of opens up and you need a grab bag of different things to use when your emotions do lock up. And one of the things you're going to do is get mad at yourself, which is why I'm saying you've got to be kind to yourself. And you got to know that you in your training, you're enough. In that moment, you just got to be like, I am enough. I can do this. Take a deep breath and access your character's emotions, not yours. Ooh. Yeah, I just said that. Access your character's emotions, not yours. Sometimes accessing your emotions is accessing your character's emotions for you at certain moments when you've had time to prep in your trailer. Sometimes maybe you just got done having lunch with your boyfriend and he just proposed to you and now you're engaged and now you have to go into this audition at 3:00 where your husband was just murdered and you're having trouble accessing that because you're having the happiest day of your life. You have to have more than just quote method or whatever to pull from. You've got to have a grab bag. Let's talk about your BFFs. Jim Morrison said, "A friend is someone who gives you total freedom to be yourself." Why am I bringing this up? Because with all this mental health stuff we've been talking about recently and accessing your emotions and all of this, Your friends are vitally important. If you have negative people in your life that don't believe you, they need to go. If they don't believe in your career, they need to go. Sometimes life sucks, and it's someone you can't get rid of, like your parents who are still mad at you that you didn't go to medical school. I get it. I have also found that people who are haters are just resentful because you are living your dreams and they failed to act on what they really wanted to do with their life, and they are full of regret and jealousy that you are even trying to do something bigger than what they are doing. So try to keep that in mind and act with kindness around these negative Nellies who are secretly harboring great jealousy and are terrified that you will be successful, because that means maybe they would have been successful too if they just would have tried. As long as you are failing, then they are right to have never even attempted their dreams. Again, let me reiterate, this is another great reason to be in an acting class with positive actors. So specifically the right acting class. Friendships are often formed in battle, after all. You know you're in the right class when the other actors want to work instead of complain. I understand that it's important to put your career first. However, cutting friends out, not in the business, can be emotionally devastating in the long run. So make time for everyone. And make sure you're not that actor who's talking about your career, even with your non-career friends, because sometimes that can have the opposite effect. You need to have a break from the career and talk about other things with your other friends, and you need to have those other friends. So finally, let's end really briefly with expectation. Ethan Hawke has a great quote. Lots of great quotes in this episode. If you're not making people money, you're not going to get artistic freedom. That is such a mic drop quote. So many actors talk about artistic freedom. I want to do this and that, but he's right. You're a business. You have to make people money. And there's a great, and I want to say I got this from Bonnie Gillespie, who has a great book, Self-Management for Actors. I want to say I got this from her. I'm hoping I'm attributing to the right person. But she said something like this. Why are you trying to be 2022 Meryl Streep when you're 1972 Meryl Streep? Why are you expecting the treatment she gets today when you haven't earned it instead of the treatment she got at the start of her career? Doesn't mean you're less talented, just means you haven't proven it yet. So expectation for how this industry should be going. This little section came off of 2 emails I got, I'm not going to read them, where actors they seemed a little upset about some of the things I had said, which is great because that means I am making you think out there. And if I'm upsetting you or making you happy or elating you or confusing you, those are all great things. Because if I'm eliciting any sort of emotion, then that means I am doing something in your brain or in your heart or in your soul that's maybe even causing a paradigm shift and questioning why you do the things you do and whatever. People are like, well, why isn't an Oscar like a good goal to have? Like, I think, it means you're the best in the career and like whatever. And I'm like, well, that's great. But why are you expecting people to hand you an Oscar when you haven't even booked like a local play in your small town? Expectation. You got to know where you are in your career, right? You're all 1972 Meryl Streeps, possibly. Maybe you're a little longer. Maybe you're a little further than 1972. But that's like before she really started to book anything. No one knew who she was. No one treated her like Meryl Streep. She was in acting classes. She was trying to get an agent. She was just thrilled to get her first booking. So let's manage our expectations out there, guys. I am not saying you do not deserve these things. I'm just saying to know where your place is so you know how to navigate through this industry. So that's it. That's all I have for you at the moment this week. Break a leg out there and remember you are not alone. But if you feel alone, you can go on weaudition.com, use promo code HAG25 for 25% off. See you later.